They say office work drains your soul. Endless hours, lifeless lighting, and fluorescent fatigue. But what if the office was already feeding on it? Our department had just moved into a new space. Cheap lease, lots of room, decent view. A quiet corner of the city, tucked between closed-down shops and forgotten streets. The previous tenants, some obscure agency that went bankrupt. No one really knew what they did, just that they vanished overnight, desks left behind, dust on the screens. Coffee still in the mugs. They left in a hurry. But not everything was gone, and not everything stayed empty. We thought we were just picking up where they left off. We didn't realize we were stepping in the middle of a shift that never truly ended. I was new. Just a few weeks in, fresh out of training, eager to please the quiet, entry-level rookie in the corner cubicle. The job was almost suspiciously smooth. No impossible deadlines, no screaming managers. No office drama, clock in at 9, clock out at 5, every day, on time. No pressure, no overtime. It felt too perfect. Like the building itself didn't want stress inside. When I asked about it, Ms. Rena, our department head, just smiled. Savor it, she said. It's a rare pocket of peace in corporate life, so we did. Until the Monday everything changed. That morning, the printers wouldn't stop. A mountain of files landed across every desk, a full audit backlog, reactivated from the previous agency that once owned the space, old accounts, forgotten numbers. Tens of thousands of pages needing review, correction, and approval. Just 1 week, Rena said. A little overtime, that's all. No big deal. We nodded. Pushed up our sleeves, stayed late. But even on the first night, something felt off. The first night of overtime was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet where even the fluorescent lights sounded loud, buzzed in your ears long after you looked away. The click of a mouse sounded like a hammer, where the hum of computers felt heavier. The silence wasn't calm, it was held breath. It wasn't peaceful, like felt watched. Halfway through the evening, Kevin, the laid-back guy from payroll, spoke up. Break up the bizarre silence all over the room. Anyone seen the reconciliation files for Q3? 3 documents were gone from his stack, not misfiled. Not shuffled under another pile. Just gone. We joked, blamed the long hours and blurry eyes. Maybe they'd been accidentally recycled or misprinted. Kevin shrugged it off, reprinted. We kept going. We tossed the problem aside, blaming on the fatigue. Long hours, no one spoke. Only low cluttered desks, sounds of typing, clicking, and flipping were heard that night. But on day 2, it happened again. Not just 3 pages this time, whole binders. Entire files vanished from multiple desks, and not just physical copies. Even the shared drive backups blinked out, replaced by empty folders, blank. No corruption message, just empty folders where data used to be. No error messages, no logs, just nothing. That's when the annoyance set in. Our laughter, before replaced by irritation instead, settled over us like a fog. People snapped over missing post-its, staplers, and who was hogging the copier. That good-natured office rhythm unraveled fast. Accusations floated in quiet tones, careless interns, forgetful leads, maybe even sabotage. The camaraderie we'd had on day 1, gone. And then came the weird part. When everything was going wrong, we couldn't find the tools to fix it. A printer jammed during a reprint rush, and all the spare paper trays were empty. Staplers disappeared right as we were binding final reports. Pens dried out one after another, as if drained. Even the whiteboard markers, every color, were bone dry when Rena tried to sketch a workflow. The air in the room had changed, followed by noises. The AC began rattling like there was something stuck in the vents, even though maintenance swore it wasn't on. Chairs creaked where no one sat. The floorboards by the copy machine groaned every time someone turned their back, like someone was pacing just out of sight. And whenever someone stepped away from their desk, they came back convinced their screen had changed, files shifted, tabs closed. Like someone had been there, watching, touching, opening things not meant for them. I tried to laugh with them. Tried to say, it's just the stress, right, but no one really laughed back. That night, I stayed a bit later than the others, helping finish some batch approvals. The office was almost empty, just me and one of the team leads, Ellen. She went to grab coffee, and I was alone. That's when I heard it. The unmistakable sound of typing, not from my station. From somewhere in the next row of cubicles, fast, sharp, methodical. I stood, walked around. No one was there. The sound stopped the second I peeked around the corner. When I got back to my desk, one of my process files had been moved into the incomplete folder. And I hadn't touched it. On the day 3 of overtime, the mood was toxic by evening. A full-blown shouting match erupted between Kevin and one of the interns over something trivial, like who queued first for the printer. It wasn't like them, but they were both red-faced, trembling, their voices echoing down the sterile corridors. Then, without warning, everything went dark. A loud click echoed from the breaker room. Silence fell like a blanket. No buzz from the ceiling lights, no hum from the monitors. Even the printer stopped mid-spool, paper halfway out. For a moment, the only sound was ragged breathing. Then the emergency backup lights flickered on. Dim, cold, and flickering like candles about to go out. That's when someone screamed. It wasn't the dark. It was Rena's desk. All her files, the hundreds of sorted and re-verified audit stacks, were gone. Vanished. In their place was a single stack of papers, yellowed and brittle, tied with twine. At the top, Agency Report Fiscal Year 1996, typed in faded courier font. The ink was smeared in some places. In others, scratched out entirely. We flipped through. Every page was filled with crossed-out employee names, notes in red pen, and one recurring phrase in the margins. Shift incomplete, do not stay. No one spoke after that. We checked the hallway cameras. The feed from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., completely corrupted. Just static, no glitches, no skipped footage. Just white noise and a flicker of shapes behind the haze, something moving where it shouldn't have been. That night, I left alone. As I walked to the elevator, I heard crying in the stairwell. A soft, muffled sob, like someone trying not to be heard. I called out, no answer, but when I opened the stairwell door, empty. The crying stopped, but the air smelled faintly of sweat and old perfume. And the steps were damp. On the 4th night, no one wanted to be in the office. But the deadline hadn't changed, and we were behind. Everyone was on edge, pale, snapping at nothing. Rena paced back and forth like she couldn't stop moving. Kevin scratched at his neck constantly, skin red and raw like he'd developed a rash overnight. Ellen, usually the calmest among us, sat with her head on her desk, quietly whispering to herself. Even the lights seemed dimmer. Around 6:30 p.m., the air changed again, heavier. Still, someone in HR, a soft-spoken woman named Jules, began humming, not a tune. Just a slow, meandering note, eerie, flat. It filled the room, even after she stopped. At 7:10 p.m., the intercom crackled. We all stopped typing. The room held its breath. A voice came through. Smooth, calm, unfamiliar. Your shift is over. The line went dead. We stared at Rena. She shook her head. No one touched the PA. Security confirmed it wasn't them. No one was logged in. Then, without warning, the office came alive. Laughter, phones ringing, keyboards clicking, footsteps. The distinct sounds of a bustling, fully staffed office, but no one was moving. It was all around us, from empty meeting rooms and used cubicles, abandoned break rooms. Echoes of work from people who weren't there anymore. Someone stood up to check. No, Rena whispered. Don't. Just sit. Stay visible. We did. None of us spoke. None of us laughed. But something did. No one spoke of the whispering anymore. There was no point. We all heard it, as it was part of the building by now. In the walls, in the vents, in the air we breathed after sundown. All we did was pretended we didn't hear it. The sun dipped below the skyline. The change was instant to a dark black sky. The air thickened, humid and sour, like breath held too long. One moment, the lights dimmed without flicking. The other came with the fluorescence buzzed erratically. Floorboards creaked when no one moved. Shadows moved even when no one did. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was intrusion. Something else was clocking in. At 6:18 p.m., the first voice came, low, crackling from nowhere and everywhere all at once. Why are you still here? Not angry, just confused, as if we had violated some unspoken contract. After silence for some minutes, another echo followed. 2 voices, conversational, gossipy, right behind me. "They're still here," one said, amused. "Hey, greedy ones," the other replied, then mocking that we hogging every desk like we own the place. "It's not their shift," the first voice sighed. They had been told. But they didn't listen. Then, laughter. It echoed from the far end of the office, the corner we hadn't used all week. Not human laughter. Too loud, too layered, like multiple voices laughing through the same throat. Then, another voice, closer, male, slow, mocking. "The newbie looks like he could use some help." We froze. And then came the final voice. Not mocking, not amused, just cold. It spoke right behind my ear, though nothing was there. "You shouldn't be here around this time." Then silence. We didn't wait. We packed everything. Half-finished reports, unverified audits. Didn't even shut the computers down, just left. The hallway was too quiet. The elevator too slow. When the doors opened, we stepped in like we were running from a fire. Only none of us dared to look back, except me. I don't know why I did it. Impulse, maybe, or something else, but as I turned, every monitor in the room turned on, all at once. Every computer turned on. Monitors lit up in perfect sync. Spreadsheets filled by invisible hands, tabs switching, cells adjusting themselves. Auto-filled by unseen fingers, cells corrected themselves. Figures aligned with eerie precision. Behind the glass partitions, I saw shapes, like coworkers, but wrong. Too still, too long-limbed. One by one, chairs pulled out and filled with silhouettes. They slid into chairs we had just left, sat with crooked spines and too long arms, fingers already typing. Moving in jerks and stutters, like a corrupted video feed. An entire night shift, taking over our desks, something clocked in as we clocked out. At first, everything in the room seemed like focus on something. Beneath the flickering in and out of the artificial light like bad reflections on glossy screens. I had a moment to watch something but thin air, until one of the shapes turned toward me. It didn't have eyes, but I swear it was looking. It had no face, just the suggestion of one, flickering like a glitch. But its posture was familiar. It mimicked me, head tilted, elbow bent the same way I sat when tired. Its fingers never stopped typing. The longer I watched, the others turned slowly one by one towards me. Rena yanked me out of the place before I could speak. We made our way into the hallway, my blood pounding in my ears. The elevator door opened. We didn't say a word on the ride down. No one did, because we all felt it, and the real night shift had just begun. We didn't step foot in that building again. Rena booked us a week at a nearby co-working space. Neutral ground, bright lights, glass walls, safe. We worked late, even past 9 on some nights. No missing files, no corrupted drives. No arguing, no drama. No whispering through vents, no phantom laughter. And definitely, no eyes behind the glass. We finished the audit on time. It was over. At least, we thought it was. 3 days later, Rena found a note. No envelope, no sender. Just a folded slip of paper slid under her apartment door. Typed in perfect courier font. "Our shift begins after dusk. You are welcome to use the building. Just be gone before we arrive. No overlap, no exceptions." She didn't tell anyone at first, but somehow, word got around. Regardless of our quarrel during those incidents, we found our work chemistry again. For the sake of peaceful work environment, the company moved out within the month, quietly, no press release. No farewell. The official explanation was better amenities elsewhere. Unofficially, some called it a squatter issue. Others whispered about mold, or bad energy, or collective burnout. But none of them had seen what we saw, the monitors lighting up, the shadows sitting in our chairs, the voices that remembered us. Now, when I pass office buildings late at night, and see lights still on, I don't assume it's overtime. I wonder if someone forgot. Or maybe they ignored the rules, because some buildings don't shut down after hours. They just change shifts, and somewhere in the dark, someone might still be whispering, "Your shift is over."